Even though the biggest threat has been defeated, the remaining ants are flying towards the mainland of South Korea, and each of them is still equal to that of a B-rank hunter. Everybody's trying to gather to defend the coasts, but they don't even know if they can. But they're just coming in hot, ready to do damage. But before they can, something just flies through them too fast for anybody to see. Then they get a good look, and we see that Jinwoo's just putting Biru to work. It took a few days to take out the remaining ants. The attack ships and hunters they had available. This one dude is like, there sure are a lot of them, but rest in peace in the ocean, as he grabs both of his blades and shoots some type of energy slashes like a quick draw. On impact, the ants just start exploding. He's like, man, this shit is boring. I wanted to fight the ant that Jinwoo fought, and maybe I could have had some fun. He just did all of them in with one attack. Then it cuts over to this nation-level hunter, Thomas. He's watching the highlights of what Jinwoo did, but remember, he's still affiliated with Hwang Dong-soo. He knows that it's more than likely that Jinwoo killed his big brother. Puts it together that that's why he wants revenge against him. He's like, damn, what a shame. I wanted to meet Jinwoo. This situation makes it a whole lot more complicated. Now his assistant asks, what is he gonna do if they fight? He says, come on now, you should know me already. Hwang Dong-soo is the Scavenger Guild's possession, and the Scavenger Guild is mine. So I can't forgive somebody who touches my possessions, even if it's the American government. It cuts back over to Jeju Island, where there are still hunters looting and grabbing crystals. We see it's the team with the A-rank hunter that we met earlier. He starts telling a story talking about there was once somebody with really bad luck. His dream was to be a gold medalist. He trained and worked his ass off and never cheated to make it there. One day he was awakened as a hunter and got immediately disqualified. He's like, bro, you talking about yourself, aren't you? They're all just making small talk while they do their job. I seen an ant left just lurking around the corner. He kills it quickly like, oops, there was one left. But then they all start to turn their heads and notice somebody else. Some barbarian looking nigga just walking out the shadows. He's like, hold up, yo, you gotta ID yourself. This is a restricted area. If you do not follow our orders, we're gonna shoot you. He tries to speak back, but it's in a language they can't understand. He's like, oh shit, it's gotta be a monster. Then somebody else just snaps their fingers, and all the hunters just pass out in a second. He asks him, yo, what are you doing here? But he says, we don't need to make a scene, so I just knocked them out for a bit. They came to the island to check something to see if it's his power, saying they don't understand why he is helping humans. He says, I don't know either, but if you're curious, ask him yourself. They just keep talking about he's and she's that we don't fucking know. But Yo says the hunt will proceed as planned and nothing has changed. In the palm of his hands, he forms this little energy ball he uses to just open a fucking gate. He says it seems like that one was here too, talking about something in Korea, and he says they should take care of it while they're still here. He says, nah, we're gonna leave this place in his hands. Again, I don't know who the fuck they're talking about. He's like, nah, you just don't want to get involved. He says, I mean, you can see it that way if you want. He just disappears into the gate saying, think as you please. He calls him a coward as he just stands over the hunters. He says, well, I guess I don't need to make a scene. He just claws this red opening in space and hops right into it. So I guess he can make his own gates too, because he just pieced the fuck out. Cuts over to Jinwoo at a memorial service for all the hunters that died on the raid. Shows people's varying comments to him single-handedly saving Korea. Everybody got to see his power firsthand on the live stream. People are starting to criticize him, saying he should have helped out in the raid sooner. And there were people defending him, but the fact remains that people did die because he helped out late. But Jinwoo's just paying his respects in front of everybody, and I'm sure he feels some sense of guilt himself. As he's walking away, he passes Yoon-hoo, who says, bro, I always believed it took more than a single hero to win a war, but it looks like I was wrong. He tells Jinwoo to raise his head because he simply wrote the last chapter in this tragic story. As he starts to cry, he thanks him for everything. As he's leaving, him and Sha Hae-in notice each other. She acting all shy and just turns away quick as shit. He's just like, what the fuck is that about? And it's stated that out of the roughly 5,000 hunters that were mobilized to help out, 64 of those hunters were killed, and then 32 civilians died as well. What cuts to Jinwoo sitting down and talking with the chairman, he learns that he's trying to start his own guild. He says S-rank hunters don't really need to worry about licensing and all that, so just hit up the Hunters Association. We'll take care of the rest, getting your guild set up. He asked Jinwoo that by any chance, did you set up a barrier or something on Jeju Island? He has no idea what he's talking about, so he lets them know that the scavenger team that went to just pick up crystals, they were found unconscious. Nobody died or anything, they were all just passed out. I thought maybe you left behind a barrier or something, but he's like, nah, I did no such thing. All the hunters can't remember anything, so they really have no clue what happened. So he's just wondering if the ant set a trap that he missed. He's got another meeting to get to, so he just thanks him for his time and they just go their separate ways. And it's time for Jinwoo to go home too. As he's getting in his car, somebody walks up on him. It's an official from the Federal Bureau of Hunters in America. He gives Jinwoo his card and tells him that he even stopped by his office. He's like, all right, what business you got with me? And he says, I got some information I want to pass on to, information that nobody has except for us. And why do y'all want to give me this information? But he says they stand to gain something just by telling him. Our deputy director wishes to meet with you in person. We have a car nearby to take you if you're ready now. So he's like, information. I'm not sure if I can trust it, so I'll think about it and get back to you later as he gets in his car. Now he's trying to recruit Jin-Woo into being an American hunter by offering him information that nobody else has. He doesn't know if he can trust the information, so he's just gonna think about it and get back to him later. As he's getting in his car to pull off, the guy mentions something called an upgrade. An awakened being who can enhance the ability of other awakened beings. Have you ever heard of that before? Jin-Woo's eyes are wide as shit, or it cuts to him just getting in the car and riding with him to his boss, the deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Hunters. Since they're American and Jin-Woo's Korean, he's going to be the translator. The director says, let's get right to the point. These right here are immigration documents. Usually it takes people 2 years to get US citizenship, but for you, we can make an exception and turn you into one in a second. He's like, hold up, I only came here because bro offered me some exclusive information. Is it really possible to upgrade a hunter's abilities? He says yes, the person who can do that is actually here right now. As these footsteps start approaching them, show this woman named Norma Selmer. She is the upgrader. He can tell off rip that she's a completely different type of awakened being. She can tell that he's skeptical because everybody gives her the same dumbass look when they first meet. After you get a taste of my powers, you'll be begging for more. As you already know, each hunter has a limit to their strength, and no one can reach past their limits. They'll always stay the same unless they reawaken. That fact is common knowledge. Through a process of 3 stages, I can lift their limitations. Now, she doesn't know what to call this power, maybe a forced reawakening, but all she's doing is pulling out people's true potential. Just that she can only do it for 3 or 4 people each year before she requires time to rest. He's like, wait a minute, am I about to be one of these 3 or 4 people? And if she's telling the truth, this is a crazy ability. He asks how effective is the process. She says it varies from person to person, but after all 3 stages, your strength increases about 20 to 30%. He's like, oh shit, that's crazy. Now it makes sense why Hwang Dong-soo moved to America despite being hated by damn near everybody. Who could turn down such an amazing offer? He's like, if anybody finds out about her powers, she's gonna be in danger. Of course, that's why she's in their care. They want to use her power on Jin-Woo as a gift. He's like, a gift? You mean more like a deal? Then he says if he becomes an American hunter, he'll be the first one to get the benefits. You can pick from any of the guilds you want. There's no need to rush, we just came to help you open up the first button for today. He's confused like, what? Remember, we told you it's a gift. They're gonna take him through the first stage without a cost. All he's thinking about is how she said he won't be able to let go of her abilities once he experiences it. The first step is just her taking his hand and looking deep into his eyes. And Yo's like, yes, we got him. After he sees her abilities, he'll definitely contact us again. And he might even sign the contract immediately. She's like looking inside of his body, trying to search for his untapped potential, but all she sees is darkness. She looking around left to right, but can't see shit. She looks up and sees like a shadowy version of him at the very top. Looks closer and it's like it's him, but it's not. Whatever it is opens its eyes and stares right back at her. She just starts screaming, scaring the shit out of everybody. They whip out their guns like, bro, what did you do to her? He cusses them out like, yo, what the fuck are y'all doing? If y'all worried about her, go check on her. He ain't do shit. He apologizes for them pulling guns on him. Jin-Woo's just trying to figure out what the fuck happened. He's checking on her, but she's shaking and sweating profusely. So he asks, like, are you sick? Hey, bro, I don't know. She's not feeling well today, so can you come back another time? And Jin-Woo's like, all right. This guy escorts Jin-Woo out while they just focus on her and ask what the hell's going on. She says he is a king and a very powerful one. But what, does that mean he's like a nation level hunter? She's shaking her head like, I don't know, bro. I ain't never experienced this shit before. He's a king, but he's different from the others. When I looked into him, he was also looking back at me. And it wasn't him, but rather the endless darkness inside of him. It was looking at me. She's shaking and still sweating as she says he has no limits. Look at my man's in his shadow. It's just so cold. And it cuts back to the chairman going through it a bit. He thinks about the loss of the S-rank healer, Min Byung. It hurts his heart that they lost such a noble person. But then he gets a call on his phone saying that a B-rank gate just appeared in the middle of the highway. And after they tell him the location, he's like, wait, isn't that where Jin-Woo just built his new office? It cuts over to him just sitting in traffic. And he's just trying to figure out what the lady's seen like. What was she so afraid of? He had true terror in her eyes, so I doubt she'll meet with me again. Then he gets a call from the chairman saying, yo, I need your help. A B-rank gate in the middle of the road. That's why it's all this traffic, so can you take care of it for me? He says I would, but don't I need a permit? The chairman laughs and says, bro, who do you think is in charge of giving out those entry permits? That would be the Hunters Association. And who are you speaking to right now? The chairman of the Hunters Association. Exactly, so don't worry about that shit and go handle business. He says, bet, I'll gladly take the free experience. He just runs through traffic and gets to the gate. This is a restricted area, blah, you can't be here, blah, blah, blah. They recognize that it's Jin Woo, the nigga that saved all of Korea. Everybody's in traffic like, oh shit, it really is him. But you still need a permit, you gotta follow protocol and yada yada yada. He's like, bro, I've been told otherwise. Just hands him the phone so the chairman can talk to him. While they're straightening everything out, he just goes in while he's not paying attention. This hater says, I hope he trips and twists his ankle. Like, what the fuck? As soon as he passes through, it turns into a red gate. So he's like, no, is this because I wished bad things on him? Jin Woo's just like, ugh, I feel like I just entered a red gate. After Jin Woo enters this gate, it turns red, and on the inside, he could tell immediately like, I feel like I just entered a red gate. So he might end up having to push himself a bit. He remembers a conversation he just had with his mom after she found out that he's the biggest S-rank hunter in Korea. She says she just wants him to do what makes him happy. You've already been reawakened, so there's no point in trying to stop you. And plus your duties as an S-rank is to save as many people as you can, just like your father did. He was a firefighter before he became a hunter, and she fell in love with him after seeing him rescue people. And you carry his blood in you, so there's nothing I can do about it. Just don't push yourself too hard, okay? W fucking mom, what the hell? But he's just relieved she wasn't against him being a hunter. Now he's in this forest faced with a bunch of tiki monsters, so he summons his soldiers. They start getting active, just blowing up the forest. As they're all springing into action, he's just chilling with his hands in his pockets, thinking to himself, hunters are born to hunt, and the magic beasts aren't the only enemies they must fight. And since the tides of battle can change at any moment, first-rate hunters never let down their guard. Again, he's just having all these deep thoughts while his soldiers wreak havoc. But he continues, even though there are tens of thousands of beasts to hunt, hunters will never stop hunting. Biru just took out a whole wave by himself, over here screaming like he got an and one. And they all just clear a path for him to walk through like he really doesn't have to do shit. But alright, it's on to the next target. But cuts over to the American hunter Charles again, face to face with some shit he can't comprehend. Like, why do y'all keep doing him like this? This guy is looking for something called a fragment of brilliant light, saying he's not one of them either. Then somebody else pulls up behind him through a portal. He's like, what the fuck are you doing here? But he says he came to give some information about the territory in the east. Now he says that place is where the Shadow Monarch is, but didn't you say you would take care of that yourself? He says the other rulers are going to release something south of there, that he's going to take that place. But the Shadow Monarch won't be a problem as long as the architect fulfills its role. Again, what the fuck are we talking about? But he says there's more interesting news, and that it's been confirmed that the greatest fragment of brilliant light is there. And that's South Territory. So he laughs and says that's interesting, but for you to come here and tell me that, you must think I got some kind of plans to stop you. But don't worry about it, do your thing, bro. And more importantly, it looks like we were lured here. A guy like that couldn't possibly have a fragment of brilliant light. I wondered why he left a trace. As these footsteps start approaching, it's somebody that's trying to get in their way. He says, by the way, that territory in the east, are you talking about Korea? Now, why is it of any interest to you? Then this dude calls him the Monarch of Frost, says you don't really have time to fight with that man. They just start walking back through the gate, and he says, try and stop us. Y'all should be able to tell by now that this is Jin Woo's dad, but as bro attacks, he just puts up an ice shield, makes this pretty decent sized explosion, and it cuts back to Jin Woo's dungeon and he's talking to the boss, saying, is it you, the bastard that's been killing all my brothers? Oh, it's impressive you made it this far with your short stature, but you know our language as well? It doesn't matter, our comrades are already lying in wait, and he calls for them to come out. But all they hear is crickets. He's like, where my dudes at? Jin Woo laughs and says, you called me short. That's funny. Come on out, everybody. The only ones to come out the woods are Jin Woo's soldiers carrying the remains of the bodies. He's just confused as to what's going on as he gets hit in the head by something. He catches it to see that it's just the head of one of his men. Now everybody's squadding up like, hold up, they really trying to go crazy in these flicks. He calls Jin Woo a bastard. He just gives the word, kill them all. He just continues chilling as they all go crazy. Two of them try to run up on him. Tank just slash them both to the ground. Boss think he about to do something, but then he gets tag teamed by Biru and Egress. That's fucking tragic. And then Tusk uses his gravity to pin the big fella to the ground. But Jin Woo can walk up to him and ask him some questions, try and see what else he can learn. But ultimately, he just ends up killing him. The system continues to interfere when he tries to have conversation with them. Now that he's reached level 100, he's gotten more information about this key he received from a cursed box. It's the key to the Kartanon temple. He says, I couldn't forget that place even if I tried. It's the original double dungeon where he had his second awakening. The system is calling out to him again to return to that place, but this time a lot has changed. Now, if this was all planned from the beginning and it was just waiting for me to return there, don't worry, I'm on my way. Then it cuts to Jin-Ho clickety-clacking away on his computer, trying to defend Jin-Woo against all the comments that are shitting on him. We're talking about he gonna sue them for talking bad about him. He pulls up to the office like, hey, you've been working hard. He came back with a bunch of crystals so they can have money for the guild. So he's like, bet, now we don't gotta worry about paying any employees' salaries. He's like, wait, employees? He reminds him that yes, we need one more founding member. We need at least 3 people to start a guild. A master, a vice master, and then a 3rd member. Now for something really important. Have you decided on the name for the guild? He wants to make it a combination of their names like Sung Yu or Yu Sung, but it's just awkward. Jin-Woo's like, alright, well, how about the solo play guild? I mean, I do my dungeons alone anyway. He's like, bro, is this nigga trying to be funny? Like, that shit was ass. But just then, they get a knock on the door. He goes over to answer it like, who's pulling up to Jin-Woo's office?